Hello dear students, now let us look into some important compounds of boron. Now for our study we have three important compounds to be studied. One is borax, the other is orthoboric acid and the third is diborane. So first we'll take up borax. Now borax, if you see, it is appearing in the form of a white crystalline solid with the formula Na2B4O7.10H2O. Okay, so borax, if you treat it with water, it will dissolve in water to give an alkaline solution. So you take an anhydride of borax, that is Na2B4O7, treat it with water. What happens? Sodium being metal, it is converted to corresponding hydroxide. Boron being non-metal is converted into an acid, weak acid, orthoboric acid. So generally borax, when it is treated with water, it will dissolve to give an alkaline solution. If you heat borax, now borax, we all know the formula, it is having 10 water molecules. So obviously when you heat this water will be lost. So you take borax, you heat it, these 10 water molecules will be lost to give Na2B4O7, sodium metaborate. Further heating will give you boric anhydride and sodium borate, B2O3 and NaBO2. Okay, so after heating you are getting boric anhydride, which is also called as borax bead. Okay, so a test is named after this, called as borax bead test. Now what is done here is, this test is generally used to identify the metaborates of many transition elements in the laboratories, because they have got a characteristic color. Okay, for example, if you take borax and treat it with cobalt oxide, you get a blue colored bead. Okay, so what is to be done is, you are supposed to take borax, it is heated on the Bunsen burner flame with a cobalt oxide, which is taking on a platinum wire, okay, on a platinum loop, then you get a blue colored bead. Okay, so generally this test is used to identify the metaborates of many transition metals. Okay, let us look into the second part, that is orthoboric acid, H3BO3, or you can also write it in the form of BOH thrice. Okay, so orthoboric acid occurs in the form of a white crystalline solid which is soapy to touch. Okay, orthoboric acid is sparingly soluble in water, but when you take a hot water, it gets highly soluble. Now how to prepare this orthoboric acid? You can just take borax and you put it in HCl. Okay, so what happens? You get orthoboric acid. You can also prepare by hydrolysis of boron compounds. Okay, it may be either halides, hydrides, etc. And orthoboric acid, if it reacts with the water, it will form BOH 4 times minus and H plus. Now here you can just see what is the reaction here. Now you have orthoboric acid. I am just making it to react with water. So what happens? OH minus of the water is taken up by boric acid. So when OH minus is taken by the boric acid, what happens? BOH 4 minus. So whatever H plus is remaining, that will combine with one more water molecule to get H3O plus. Or you can simply write H plus, that is also fine. Okay. So whenever it reacts with water, you are getting BOH 4 minus. Okay, on heating, what happens? Whenever you heat orthoboric acid above 370 Kelvin, what happens? It will form metaboric acid, which on further heating will form boric oxide. So you can just see the reaction here. Now orthoboric acid, I have written it in this form. Okay, so how I have written H3BO3. So this is the orthoboric acid. So what you do here is, you are heating that. When you heat it, what happens? Water is lost. So remove H2O, H2O. What happens? You have remaining one oxygen and one OH. So this oxygen, it makes up a double bond. Then you have OH left out. So one more such molecule if you take, then again if you heat it, what happens? Again water molecule will be lost. Remove H2O. Then you get boric oxide. So whenever you heat orthoboric acid, first it will form metaboric acid, which on further heating will form boric oxide. Now let us look into the third one, that is diborane. Diborane formula is B2H6. Okay, so important compounds of boron family. These are the important compounds of boron family, and boranes are the one or those which contains boron and hydrogen. So boranes are the one which contains boron and hydrogen. Okay, so how do you prepare this diborane? You can just make use of hydrides. Like first one, if you take lithium aluminum hydride and treat it with boron trifluoride. So what happens here? So hydrides will give H minus, so you get diborane. Lithium gets converted to lithium fluoride, aluminum gets converted to aluminum fluoride. Okay, so a laboratory method of preparation, if you want, you can just prepare diborane by treating sodium borohydride with iodine. Okay, so when you prepare this, oxidation takes place, diborane you are getting, sodium gets converted to sodium iodide and hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, diborane is also prepared on an industrial scale by the reaction of boron trifluoride with sodium hydride at 450 Kelvin. Okay, you get diborane and sodium fluoride. So these are some of the methods of preparation of diborane. So when it comes to the properties, so diborane is said to be colorless and highly toxic gas with a boiling point of 180 Kelvin, and it catches fire spontaneously whenever it is exposed to air. So it burns in oxygen, releasing enormous amount of energy. That is, whenever it is undergoing combustion, it is heating in the presence of oxygen. What happens? Large amount of energy is liberated. So what is the amount of energy? Minus 1976 kilojoules per mole. Exothermic reaction takes place. So whenever diborane undergoes combustion, you get exothermic reaction takes place, releasing enormous amount of energy. Now earlier times, old buildings, if you want to break them, there only, then it was done using diborane because it is going to release large amount of energy. Okay, now higher diboranes, if you take, they are also flammable in air. So these are some of the properties of diborane. Now borane, if you take, so boranes are readily hydrolyzed by water to give boric acid. So this is what is the reaction. So whenever diborane you take, if you treat it with water, it is hydrolyzed to give boric acid. Okay, with Lewis basis, if you carry out the reaction of diborane. Okay, so you take diborane, okay, and then you treat it with trimethylamine. Okay, trimethylamine. So here nitrogen is consisting of lone pair of electrons. So you just get an adduct. Okay, so this lone pair of electrons is donated to boron. So you get a coordinate bond between these two. So you are getting an adduct. Adduct is just joining. Okay, so you get an adduct. Whenever diborane is treated with carbon monoxide, again here the electrons are transferred to boron. Again you are getting a adduct. Okay, so with ammonia, if you take, okay, reaction with ammonia, if you consider diborane, when it's react with ammonia, you get an adduct in the initial stage. That is, nitrogen has got lone pair of electrons on it, that is donated to boron. You get an adduct, which further on heating will give you a borazine B3N3H6 with the liberation of hydrogen gas. So this borazine is also called as inorganic benzene. This is very important to be remembered. What is that inorganic benzene? Inorganic benzene is borazine. Okay, B3N3H6. Okay, so that is called as borazine. Now let us look into the structure of diborane. Now this is what is the structure of diborane. Now here you can see the boron is, each boron is said to be sp3 hybridized, and in diborane you have got two types of hydrogen atoms. Okay, these four are called as terminal hydrogen atoms, and these two are called as bridge hydrogen atoms. So you have got two types of hydrogen atom. So whatever the four hydrogen atoms, two on the left and two on the right, they are known as terminal hydrogen atoms, and they lie in the same plane. That is, it is called coplanar. So they are lying in the same plane. These are two center, two electron bonds. Therefore they are said to be very strong. They are called as two center, two electron bonds. Okay, two center, two electron bonds. Now bridge hydrogen atoms, if you get the remaining two hydrogen atoms, one lying one above the plane and one below the plane, it is forming bridges. Okay, and hence they are known as bridge hydrogens. These are said to be abnormal bonds. These are said to be abnormal bonds, as the two bridges involve one electron from each boron atom and one from each hydrogen atom. So if you want to look it clearly here, you can just look this structure. Okay, so atomic number of boron is 5. Okay, so what is its electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 1. Okay, 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 1. So this is what is the electronic configuration of boron. Okay, so how many valence electrons it has got? 3 valence electrons. Okay, so this boron, so whatever black dots I have written, they are the electrons of boron. Okay, here also 3 electrons I have written. Okay, now hydrogen is giving 1 electron here, this also hydrogen 1, so there is a formation of a sigma bond here. So these two and these two, 4. Okay, so one with electron from this boron and 1 electron from this boron is left out. Okay, so hydrogen, if you have, it will give 1 electron, right? So this bridge is whatever is involved, 1 electron from boron atom and 1 electron from hydrogen atom. So it is forming a bond which is consisting of 3 centers: boron, hydrogen, boron. So it is having 3 centers, 2 electrons. Okay, 3 atoms sharing 2 electrons. Okay, so 3 atoms sharing 2 electrons. Here also 3 atoms, BHB, sharing 2 electrons, one from boron and one from hydrogen. Since they are resembling banana, they are known as banana bonds, and they are said to be quite weak. Okay, so this is what is the structure of diborane. Okay, lithium and sodium tetrahydridoborates are also known as boron hydrides and are prepared by the reaction of metal hydrides with diborane in diethyl ether. So you take a metal hydride, treat it with diborane. Okay, so you get boron hydrides. Okay, boron hydrides. Both lithium boron hydride and sodium borohydride are used as a reducing agent in organic synthesis. Lithium borohydride and sodium borohydride are used as reducing agents in organic synthesis.